That's exactly what we look forward to watching this upcoming weekend. And it starts on Saturday, and it is a rivalry renewed for the third time this season. The San Francisco 49ers on the road against the 1 seed, the Seattle Seahawks, who are rested. They got to chill at home, watch those Niners beat the Eagles, and now the 12s get to bring in their divisional rival with the hopes of an appearance in the NFC Championship on the line. It does not get better than this. Jake, I'll start with you because these are the two teams. Should your Rams advance, this comes down to these two. You're going to have to play one of your division rivals. Who do you think that'll end up being should your Rams advance? Who moves on to the NFC Championship between the Niners and the Seahawks?
I think it was always Seattle, but I think this game is going to be very weird, and I wouldn't be surprised the 49ers just found a way. We can keep talking about how they just too many injuries. They just keep winning, right? They just keep finding ways to do it. I don't think this benefits Seattle in any way to play a team that they literally just played. I know they beat them pretty handedly the last time, even if the score didn't really indicate that. But I really don't know how this team is going to come off the bye. So I'm going to say they win 24-23. But the reason why I'm talking like this is because there was a time not that long ago, the 49ers were the 6th seed, and they went up against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. They were the 1 seed, and they came out so flat in that game. You just never know how a team's going to come off a bye, be it in the regular season or the postseason. I think the Seahawks are good enough to get over that, but I think this game is going to be way closer, and if you for a second think this is just going to be a copy and paste of Week 18, you haven't been paying attention.
Speaking of Week 18, these two teams went toe-to-toe less than 2 weeks ago. The Seattle Seahawks were on the road in that one, and the Seattle Seahawks did not allow the Niners to score a single touchdown, Mike. The Seahawks won 13-3. Do we see a similar outcome, or do you see something different happening on Saturday in the divisional round?
What is it, 1-1, right, in terms of this year? Seattle 1-1, 49ers 1-1. Is that right, guys?
Mm-hmm. That's
right. Okay. This is a tough one. I mean, every time I go against Seattle, I always get burnt. I always get burnt in the chat. Everybody's trying to crucify me. This is a very, very tough game to choose because just like Jake said, these 49ers don't die. I don't know. I don't care, man. They just don't die. I don't know exactly how it is, but this will put all the question marks of Sam Darnold, right? And I know you've been battling out there, Brando, about, Sam Darnold, but I think Seattle gets it done. I think I'm going to choose the side of Seattle here. I think the defense right now is playing at an ultimate level. And to say that, Sam Darnold is all these things we say, our seeing goes all above blah, he doesn't have to do very much. If you got that defense out there, that defense can turn over a game in a heartbeat. So I got Seattle winning this game. I got 27-20 Seattle winning over the 49ers.
2 for 2 on the Hawks. Brando, I go to you because you've earned it. The number 1 seed, and the last time out, your Hawks took down these Niners. Do they do so again? Sam Darnold does not have a playoff victory on his resume. Will he have one at the conclusion of Saturday night's game?
Yes, he absolutely will do so. I talked a couple weeks ago that I thought that the Niners injury situation was too far going up against this particular Seahawks team. And I think a lot of Niner fans didn't want to hear that at the time. They seem to embrace that a little bit more post-game, but it's just a valid thing. It's not an excuse. And yes, the Niners have been the zombie team that can just continue to progress on through this year. I've made that comparison to them. But it's now turning into a little bit like a Monty Python, sketch there in the Holy Grail where they've got the leg cut off, arm cut off, fingers are gone, ears off, and they're just sitting there hopping along going, it's just a flesh wound. It's a flesh wound, I tell you. It's fine. And we're kind of like, yeah, we're good. We're heading on to the next round with it. It's a team with they were closer to full strength. I think this would be more of a challenge. But walking into our house, the energy that's at play here, the way this team has gotten it throughout all of this year for why they've driven to where they're at from a mentality standpoint, and that will help through the bye week. You can throw a lot on top of this, like the number 1 seed since 1990's got a 71% winning percentage coming off of that bye week into the second round. So it's very hard for those teams to win just in the basic nature of the teams are pretty even. Steven saying nothing of where this injury situation is at and no Kittle. And while they did get maybe back Williams right now, I don't think he's anywhere near 100% with that hamstring. And now we are getting back Cross, who we were able to give the extra time for him to be at 100% of his health. We have all of our health across the board on this team coming into this game. You have a stadium that is going to be, let's not forget this, boys, this stadium, when it is raucous and at its most crazy, is the hardest environment to play in all of the NFL. That's not going to change this week. Niners aren't taking the stadium over this week. There's going to be a whole nother different kind of animal walking in that stadium this weekend. And like I said 2 weeks ago and was proven right, it's going to be a comfortable win. We probably should have had more points in the last game if our all-pro kicker decided to start missing kicks on that day. We would have had a little bit more comfortable win, but I see it as a 27-13 game. I just think that it'll be a game that'll be tight early on. Both teams will be feeling each other out. But by the time you get to the third quarter, that ignition switch the Seahawks team can hit when it comes to points and the 30-point halves they put up time and time again this year. I think that ends up carrying the day. And I think we end up getting a very comfortable win here.
Jesse, the whole panel does not believe in your San Francisco 49ers, and now it comes down to you. You have been on record all year long that you do not believe in Sam Darnold in the big moment, and this is as big of a moment as it gets. The 1 seed at home against a division rival without a playoff win to show for his career thus far. The pressure is on. The last time out, your Niners lose by 10. They don't score a touchdown. Sam Darnold didn't have to do much in order to get this victory. How do you see this one panning out, and will we see a different result than we saw in Week 18?
Yeah, I got to be honest. It's tough on paper to pick the 49ers versus this Seattle team. I mean, the Seattle team is absolutely stacked. There's players all over the place, especially defensively. And this is a better offense than the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a better defense and it's a better offense. They're at home. They're rested. There's a lot of reasons to pick Seattle here. But let me lend some reasons as to why this game could be a little bit different than the last time around. First of all, let's not forget that the Seattle Seahawks in 2 games against the 49ers have not put up more than 13 points themselves. In fact, they put up 13 points in both games. Sam Darnold has 0 touchdown passes. The great Sam Darnold. I know, 0 touchdown passes in 2 games. The 49ers last game didn't have Trent Williams either. They didn't have Ricky Pearsall. Both those guys should be playing this week. Trent Williams for sure. Ricky Pearsall is limited practice. If they were to practice today, it would have been a limited basis. I believe he's going to play. Now, George Kittle did play last game, but let's not forget that he was coming off of an injury himself. He looked like a shell of himself in that game. And so when I look at it, maybe a 50% George Kittle in that game, the difference between him and Jake Tonjes is significant. But when it's a 50% Kittle and Jake Tonjes, I don't think it's that significant. So you add in Trent Williams, you add in Ricky Pearsall, and I would argue that somehow, some way that Eric Kendricks and Garrett Wallow are actually better at linebacker than what the 49ers had in the last game with Winters and Bethune, and Bethune went out with an injury. So I think the 49ers are actually a little bit healthier than they were coming into this game last time. And I have said that the Seahawks coaching staff is very good. I think the 49ers coaching staff from top to bottom, offense through special teams, is the best in the NFL. I think that the Chiefs are right there. And I definitely think that the Seattle Seahawks are right there. I think they've got an amazing coaching staff from offensive coordinator, defensive play caller, and McDonald, and then obviously your special teams coach. But the experience edge goes to the 49ers. And playoff football is not regular season football. This is the first time that they are going to be coaching in a playoff situation in the positions in which they are in. McDonald is going to be first-time head coach in this situation. There's a lot that goes into a playoff game, and I will tell you that the 49ers are going to be very well prepared. They were not prepared in Week 18 for whatever reason. They definitely fell flat. It just didn't turn out well, and maybe that's just simply Seattle's the better team. They were on that day. There's no doubt about it. I just feel like this time around things will be slightly different. It's going to be a close game in my opinion. Last game, I know that it was only a 10-point game, but gosh, it felt like a million. Seattle absolutely dominated that thing. Brock Purdy's also undefeated in Seattle. He's never lost in Seattle. So going on the road doesn't worry me. It's not ideal that the 49ers are playing on short week for sure. They just played on Sunday. Now they got to play on Saturday. Not a big fan of that. But overall, I just think that the 49ers find a way to get this thing done. And when I look at it, Robert Saleh sat back in a too-high shell most of that game. He cannot do that this game. He's going to have to sell out to stop the run and make Sam Darnold beat him. Listen, if Sam Darnold can go out and beat you on his right arm, by all means, all the credit in the world. But I got to see it happen. And hopefully the 49ers feel the exact same way, which is we cannot get beat by this run game. We have to put it on Sam Darnold's shoulders, and that's the game plan they come with, and we'll see what happens. Ultimately, I do think that the 49ers win this game 23-20 Niners.
As Jesse transitions hats, we transition from the divisional Saturday nightcap to the divisional Sunday nightcap, where the LA Rams are on the road in the Windy City at Soldier Field to take on the Chicago Bears. And if you watch the first half of the Bears wildcard game against the Packers, you would not think the Rams would be playing the Bears, but they go down 21-3 and erase an 18-point deficit to move on. And Caleb Williams gets his first victory in the playoffs of his career. New coach Ben Johnson wins his first ever playoff game as the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Of course, on the other end of things, the Rams come off of that scary victory over the Carolina Panthers, where it may have been a little too close for comfort, but still wound up getting it done. The only remaining quarterback in this entire picture that has won a Super Bowl is Matt Stafford. Will that experience matter? One thing I want to bring up, because we talk about the experience of these quarterbacks, how much it does matter, and I think you see that on a week-to-week basis in the postseason this time of year. Jake did allude to the weather earlier in Chicago, and as we know, when we get to January, the weather can get pretty wild out there in the Windy City. And Jake had kind of mentioned that Bears fans are hoping that it's going to be a bad weather game. Saw these stats, and I think this is why the Bears fans feel this way. Matt Stafford, the last 10 games outdoors in the rain and snow, 1-9 straight up with a 16-11 touchdown to interception ratio. The Rams in their last 10 games in Chicago, 2-8 with a -109 point differential. The forecast for Sunday evening in Chicago, 20 degrees, 18-mile-per-hour wind gusts, 55% chance of snow. I say all that to say if Matt Stafford goes in there and gets it done, it will be one epic victory. The question is, will he do that? Mike, it's the Rams, it's the Bears in the divisional round to close out the weekend. Who do you got in this one?
Well, damn. I mean, I didn't mention this before. Three of these guys in the NFC West, and we're the fourth one out. It's crazy to see. But it just proves that this division is that damn good. But the only team that I have over here to save my sanity is the Bears. That's the only division or the only team that's out here right now that's going to save my sanity for any of these teams to go to the Super Bowl. But I don't know, man. Like, I love the storyline of Caleb, and I've been very, very high on Caleb. And like you guys said before, that throw was ridiculous. On the fourth down, you must have it was nuts. But I think this game with the weather that's going to be into play is going to have to be really focused on the run game, right? It's going to be kind of that type of ugly game, like a 17-13 type of game. I just don't know if Sean McVay is going to be able to commit to the run. I just don't think he's going to be able to. That's one thing that I've
had it right the first time, Mike.
That's one thing that I've always said, that it's like that's his Achilles heel. He just doesn't commit to the run. And I don't know if they want to reinforce the Matthew Stafford MVP, you got this, brother, this is you. It might be the situation, but I think that is going to be the downfall of this Rams team. I want to pick the Rams so much because obviously the experience, but because of the weather, because it's in Chicago, because the weather is going to be, inclement weather with the snow, I'm going to stay in Chicago, man. I'm going to go Bears. I'm going to say 17-13 on a probably last drive. Caleb Williams has another crazy, fantastic one. And 17-13, I got Bears winning this game.
Jesse, we are looking at a matchup here between two teams where one comes into the season, and I think everybody expected them to be here. The other team, I don't think anybody really expected them to get this far. I think they thought the Bears would bounce back, but to host a divisional round game, I don't know if that was on everybody's bingo card yet. Here we are. Rams off to Chicago. Are they going to be able to take care of the Bears and move on to the NFC Championship?
Man, this will be a very, very fun game. And when you look at a team that plays indoors, going outside and wind chills of 6 degrees and it's 17 degrees outside with possible snow flurries. Normally you'd be like, man, this LA team, they don't know what's coming to them. They're built for weather, though. They can run the ball. They've got 2 running backs. They've got a good offensive line. You've got a quarterback whose arm can really cut through anything. and you've got two really good wide receivers. And ultimately, this 3 tight end set that they run with, they can play keep away through it all day long. And I think it's something unique that they can bring to the table, and they're very, very effective with. I think the Bears are a formidable foe. I think that they've had a fantastic season. But ultimately, I did pick the Rams to go to the Super Bowl. I'm certainly not going to take them to lose in this round here. And that Bears defense is atrocious. It is not good whatsoever. One thing I will say, though, is that the Bears can run the football. And I don't think the Rams have been particularly well at stopping the run, to be real with you. And I think that could be an absolute problem as well. So I'm curious to see how this one plays out. I think both teams can score in spite of the cold weather, just because I don't think there's going to be a lot of precipitation. Some snow flurries potential, but I don't think that that's really going to play a factor. It's not going to be like piles of snow or anything like that. So I think both teams will be able to put up some points. Ultimately, though, I do think that we get an all NFC West, NFC Championship game, and that will be the 49ers and the Rams. Rams 27-23.
Brando, you mentioned a little bit earlier that these Rams are the most formidable foe remaining that your Seahawks could potentially take on should they get to the NFC Championship. Should they get to the NFC Championship, who will they be taking on? Those Rams or the Chicago Bears? Who takes it on Sunday night?
Yeah, I think it is going to be the Rams. I do think it is going to be a close game, and I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I want to echo Jesse's sentiments in the respect if it's being silly by the Bears fans thinking that they're better suited to play within the snow than the Rams just because indoor and Stafford stats that go back to him as a freaking lion. Really? We're referencing that time period? They're built to run inside on top of being a team built to run the ball, which if you're going to be a team in the snow and, you run the ball if you're outside zone, that's going to get harder to get linemen going lateral, but they could just get downhill on you. So if it gets that way, it's going to be working in the Rams' favor, not the Bears' favor, of any team. And the same thing that like Mike had said about, the Rams having the penchant for getting away from the run game, which I think is true. And I think even this last game in Carolina, there's some times there where you could say stay with the run game a little bit more. That's also a little bit of what Ben Johnson can do too. I thought he got a little bit that way in that game with the Packers, even before getting a little bit out of hand. I think it's going to be tough, though, for the Rams. They've got some parts there. Do the Bears offensively then get after them? Luther Bird in the slot's a problem. And Colston Loveland, I don't know how those Rams linebackers are going to be able to stay with him. He is a big-time problem. But the way that the Bears are winning right now is really, it's almost like the less of the on-script stuff from the regular season. It's become more and more this as the year's gone on, where it all becomes on to Caleb, make miracles happen. And it's very hard to ask your quarterback to be living in that way in the playoffs, deep in the playoffs. You eventually come up to a game where he just doesn't have enough juice in a particular game to get that done. And I just don't think he's going to be able to against a really, really good, stout Rams team. 34-30 Rams.
Jake, you've thought your Rams were the best team in football all year long, so did many. And as the year came to a conclusion, there started to be some people who were getting off the bandwagon, but not you. Despite the ups and downs, they're right where you thought they'd be in the divisional round with a chance to move on, to have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. That is Sunday night. That is against Chicago. Matt Stafford, the likely MVP. Does he and these LA Rams move on to the NFC Championship and take on one of these two remaining foes in the NFC West?
Well, I just got to say, I love working with these guys, including you, Z-Bot. But, Mike hits on giving up the run or abandoning the run. The McPass thing was funny. Jesse hits on the 13 personnel, which I knew he would. And Brando literally, that is the exact thing that I've been saying. Like, we're talking about stats. Like, I love history, but have context. We're talking about Detroit days. The Sean McVay's 2-2 in freezing weather. 3 of those are not with Stafford. He's 1-0 with Stafford. The other 2 are with Goff, and 1 is with Baker Mayfield in a season that was over, So it is funny when you get into the history of all that and you don't have context, how it can kind of, sway people one way or another. The way I see it is this. I have a lot of respect for what the Bears have done. Maybe I lost a little bit for Ben Johnson because he acted like an asshole, and honestly, that might come to pass because Matt LaFleur is best friends with Sean McVay. And guess whose brother is over on the Rams coaching staff? That's right. It's Mike LaFleur. So don't think that they didn't see that, and definitely don't think that Matt LaFleur hasn't been on the phone with Sean McVay this week. I'll just say that. But that said, Chicago is a really interesting team. We saw them against the 49ers. I think that was the best showcase of who they are. They'll give up the pass. Dennis Allen is all about trying to create turnovers. and he got one on the first drive of the game against Brock Purdy. Wasn't enough because he gave up 42 points in that game. You can throw on this team. Jesse mentioned it. They run pretty well. But what Jesse didn't mention is how well the Rams do stop the run. And, they had a couple bad, moments with Seattle and Atlanta, but they were really banged up. Since Quentin Lake came back and Poona Ford's 100%, they really stifled Carolina and forced Bryce Young to have to win that on his own. So I feel good about the run defense. I feel really good about the 13 personnel. I can't stress that enough. It's like people are acting like this is the greatest show on turf and they want to be an 11 personnel or 10 personnel or whatever. 13 and 12. Chicago's terrible against 12 personnel defensively, but they're not really good against anything defensively. And they don't get a ton of pressure. Like they have moments where they'll get 20 to 25 pressures in a game, but they have a lot of 10, 12 pressure games this year. If you can't get pressure on quarterback Matthew Stafford, he is going to eat you alive. And then on top of that, you have Kyren Williams, you have Blake Corum. These are guys that are going to keep your offense on the field. So I do expect with Kevin Dotson likely to be back here, likely to get Josh Wallace on the defensive end and get back Terrence Ferguson. I expect the Rams to be able to do what they want to do offensively. Now, what it comes down to is defensively, Caleb Williams is such a handful. But if this is a game where, there's snowfall, I think it takes away a lot of what Caleb wants to do, and I think it goes in the Rams' favor. Let's say there's no snowfall and it's just cold. Well, Caleb just played in a cold game, and he threw some, he had some mistakes, and he threw the ball away. He had 2 interceptions, and then he was able to come through and make some great throws, but you can see it. It's like I used to call Josh Allen this. He's like John McClane from Live Free or Die Hard, where Josh Allen would turn the ball over like crazy, but he'd do some incredible stuff as well. Now Josh Allen takes better care of the football. Caleb Williams is better this year at taking care of the football, but still, he's got that erratic play in him, and he does get away with some things. And the reason why I say John McClane from Live Free or Die Hard, if you guys ever saw that movie, he shoots himself through the chest to kill the guy that's holding him. So there you go. That's Caleb Williams in a nutshell, shooting himself through the chest. He can inflict pain to get out of a certain situation. There's a lot of, money ball there. And I think this secondary that was holding, they had one of the fewest explosive play rates in the league given up. That was when Quentin Lake was healthy, and he's back. So I do expect that this secondary is going to start to look better. I thought Emmanuel Forbes, it wasn't talked about, but I thought he played really well because he's the guy that gave up 2 touchdowns last time he saw the Panthers. So I think there's some good things there, but this pass rush is going to be the golden goose here. And they had 35 pressures last week. I think Carolina has a decent offensive line. The Bears are without, keep this in mind, they're without, what's his name?
Left tackle.
Yeah, the left tackle. I'm blanking on his name now. Trapilo. Yeah. So they're without him. Benedette is back there. I know he played earlier in the season, but he's not Trapilo. And then on top of that, they're without TJ Edwards, that linebacker. So I think those are things that you can take advantage of. But that said, like Brandon mentioned, you got to look out for Colston Loveland. You got to look out Luther Burden. They still have DJ Moore. They still have, Romo Dunze. They have Kyle Monungai. They have DeAndre Swift. So there's a lot of weapons there. This is a good offensive line as well, be it as it may that they lost their left tackle. This is not going to be an easy game. I'm taking the Rams 27-23. And I think cheat code here, if the Rams are going to win any game, just go just a little bit below where the line is, and that's where your prediction should be. Jesse, you hit it right on the head. I think it's going to be 27-23. I think the line was 4.5. So I was like, screw it. I'll give them a 4-point win because they don't cover.
My Buffalo Bills, they're also in the mix. We have 3 teams on this panel and your trusty host, not horse, although I sound like a horse because I lost my voice.
It's the hat.
It is.
Freudian slip there, huh?
A Freudian slip indeed, because the amount of people I've had this week say that I sound like a horse. I don't really know where that saying comes from, but apparently that's what you are called when you do not have a voice. And when Cole Bishop picked off Trevor Lawrence, he also picked off my voice. So if that's why I sound like I've smoked even more cigarettes than I usually sound. That is the reason why. But anyway, speaking of my Buffalo Bills, they've earned the right to play the Denver Broncos in the divisional round. That will be the game that precedes the epic matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. And right now you can get in on the action throughout the divisional round over on Sleeper. I did with that Bills Broncos game. Here's my slip, and it's a very opportunistic and very optimistic slip at that. I got Josh Allen more than 1.5 pass TDs, Dalton Kincaid more than 36.5 receiving yards, seeing that he's the only person I think capable of going out there and playing the receiver position, even though he's a tight end. Bo Nix, less than 1.5 pass TDs. Harvey, less than 50.5 rush yards. You can tell that, or of course, create your own via the link in the description below. Click that and sign up for Sleeper. Once you do, you will immediately get a free $20 entry. You can use that in the divisional round across all the games. NBA, NHL, you name it, it's all on Sleeper. Once you use your free $20 entry, use the promo code on your screen, RTS, and that will get you a 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper terms of use for details. Currently available in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper via the link in the description below. And while you're down there, I urge you to check out our new friends that are allowing us to give away an epic giveaway that happens to pertain to this division, and in particular happens to pertain to our very own Brando's Seahawks. It's our friends over at Covered, and we are very excited to be partnering with them to do stuff like this. Covered, link in the description below. Click that, and once you do, use the promo code Ball Don't Lie, and it will give you a free entry to enter in to tons of different giveaways on the app, including a Jackson Smith and Jigba autographed and framed jersey. Look at that on your screen. It reminds me of the one Brando's got behind him there. It is as good as it gets. You have the jersey, and it's the throwback one. It doesn't get better. A couple of images there, a beautiful frame job, and the autograph to go along with it. Here's the beauty. This app, fairly new, so there's not a ton of people who have entered into this giveaway yet. Last I checked, there might have been only 20-ish people or so. The link is in the description below. It's also pinned in the chat. Click that, sign up, and use the promo code Ball Don't Lie. That will give you a free entry. Now, in order to enter into the giveaway, you play a game. It's called Cashy Bird, not to be confused with Flappy Bird, even though it's the exact same thing. You play the game and earn points, and you stack your way up the leaderboard. Once the giveaway time expires, the leader of the leaderboard wins the jersey. So it's a lot of fun, and there's a ton of cool prizes on there. This is just one of the many. So go and take advantage of that. It's super cool, and obviously it doesn't get better if you're a Seahawks fan than winning this. And if you're not a Seahawks fan, you can win it and then brag to all the other Seahawks fans in here and say, look, I have this, and I'm never going to hang it up, but I have it just because I'm keeping it away from you. So link in the description below. Check out our friends over at Covered. We're excited to be partnered up with them.